Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. I'm your host, Tiffany, and I am answering some of your top questions in this episode and in near future episodes. So if there is a topic or a subject or a burning question that you would love to have me cover, all you've got to do is DM me on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany. You can just start, if you don't already follow me, you can just start typing in ProjectME, one word, and I'll pop up at the top. Me and my smiling, delightful face. So here is the question that I've gotten at least from 5 of you in the last 2 weeks. So I knew that's a great representation that there's thousands of you who want to know the answer, but either are too lazy to DM me and ask, or find it too vulnerable to DM me and ask, or 3, make some assumption about me that I'm way too busy and don't check my DMs and why bother, which is also not facts. I am never too busy to connect with you guys. Now, am I going to give you some in-depth coaching in the DMs for free? No, I'm not. Because you won't do much with it anyway if you don't have skin in the game. Will I guide you and direct you? Absolutely. And will we joke around about stuff like normal people, like I would if I saw you in real life? Absolutely. But you've got to take the risk and be vulnerable and do that thing. But I know it's an assumption like, oh, there's no way. Like she probably gets a gazillion DMs. Yes, I get a lot of DMs. And I spend almost 2 hours every single day in my DMs, 7 days a week by choice. Not all in one sitting, but by choice. You guys are my ideal client. I have a business. I practice what I teach you guys. That would be like me having a boutique hotel or a restaurant and not spending 2 hours a day speaking with guests and talking to people about the different services we offer and finding out what they like and don't like and what they need help with and what they want more of. That would be strange. So I'm doing exactly what I would do offline, online, which is what I teach you guys to do. Except the cool thing is I can do this from the bathtub. I can do this while chilling at a cafe, which is what I did yesterday. I spend my Sundays. I have a special I do a whole Friday date situation. And then Sunday I have a whole luxuriation thing I do. And I'm sitting in the SoCal sun eating this amazing turkey wrap that comes with a side of ranch. I know. The turkey wrap is delightful. It's delightful. It's like a grilled turkey wrap. It's so good. But what makes it is the ranch on the side. And I know it would be very healthy aside from the high caloric intake of the ranch. But it's not like I douse it in it. Then I get a side of fruit. I sit with my latest, oh my God, my latest find. Seriously. Now, I don't think there's coffee beans all over the US like there are Starbucks. I feel like the coffee bean franchise is a SoCal thing. So I may be sharing something that you guys can't access, but I'm sure you can buy it online. They are known for, you know how like most coffee places like Starbucks, they have like syrups, right? Like mocha, hazelnut. That's where most of their flavors come from. Well, Coffee Bean does something different and they do powders, which I think a lot of them are, they're I think they're dairy-free and gluten-free. They're powders. But so picture like a powdered creamer, but a high-end powdered creamer. They have a new flavor. And the guy at the coffee bean next to my little cafe I love, this guy's hysterical. He's how I was when I worked at Starbucks, like obsessed with everything, told everyone how to get the off-menu stuff, exactly what to get, like really was passionate about it. And I go, listen, I don't want some like 800 calorie item. I'm not into it. I don't want something with a ton of like milk. I said, but I want some caffeine and I want something that tastes like a treat, but without it being like, where I have to like run 20 miles to burn it off because we're not available for it. He's like, I've got you. You're doing a regular coffee, but we're doing it with our cookie butter powder, our new cookie butter powder. And I'm aware of their powders and they're legit. It might sound gross to you. It's legit. And I was like, I go, okay. And he's like, I'll make sure I like, stir it in there, right? It's not going to be like a hunk of powder in the bottom. Oh my God. I'm not allowed to buy the powder unless I look at the calories on the back. And if it's less than the calories that I'm expending on the creamer I put in my coffee, I might. It's amazing. Highly recommended. Had to get there. Had to go down that path with you. So getting asked this question of Tiffany, how do I start and build a personal brand from scratch when I have no like special credentials, well-known expertise? I don't have some following from being like a top network marketer or some booty showing fitness person on YouTube. I'm a regular schmo. My first response is this. You do have special credentials. And you do have expertise. It might not be well known yet by the public, but you do have special credentials. All of us do. Your damn life and what you've gone through and how you've navigated it, that is your credential. That is your best credential, number one. Number two, who you are as a person is your credential. The fact that you care, if you're high integrity, how you hold space for people. If you're an empath, you're intuitive. If you're someone who's a connector, maybe you're an extrovert who is just really great on like pouring beautiful energy into people and raising their vibration. You already have the credentials. I hire people all the time inside ProjectME and for my other business that don't have this degree and that degree. Yes, there are certain professions and things where you have to have the credential. Like my CPA firm and my 3 CPAs I work with on both of my businesses. Yes, they have to have the credential. Dr. Elliot Hirsch, who did my breast explant surgery and lift. Yes, board certified plastic surgeon only with lots of experience doing this exact procedure. Period. End of story. However, using that as an example, I, of course, interviewed and researched multiple breast explant surgeons. Just, you should. It's your health, just as you should for hiring for your business, right? And all of them are board certified. All of them went to fancy schools. All of them had tons of before and afters. All of them had testimonials. So what it really came down to then, it came down to, and you can listen to my episodes. I interviewed Dr. Hirsch and I was on his Skin Deep radio show as well. With him, I knew we did a FaceTime consult because it was COVID times. It was kind of weird because obviously I had to show him my breasts and manipulate my own breasts on FaceTime because he couldn't do it. It was definitely strange. But he made me feel very comfortable. It's his internal credentials that made it into, oh, hell yes, here's my money. And I wouldn't expect him to be cheap. I didn't try to negotiate. I didn't do a payment plan. I wanted the person who is operating on me to get whatever he knows he's worth. He could have told me any amount, even if I was like, oh shit, I would have paid it. What was interesting is he was priced absolutely fair and reasonable. Whereas the other people who were wearing the Hermes belts and flashy and always on TV and all those people, they were charging egregious prices. But I would have paid it, but they were charging egregious prices, and he was fair and reasonable to where it was like, okay, got it. His internal credentials, his integrity, how he listened to me, how he explained things, and it wasn't condescending, how his true take and his honest take on breast implant illness, and he wasn't just telling me what I wanted to hear, his bedside manner, as we call it. It wasn't him using fancy language. It was him just being he felt like he could have been like my brother. I felt safe with him. Your internal credentials are better than anything. So I want to start with that. These external credentials, yes, you see me put them, right? We've seen on NBC and CBS and CNN and on the Earn Your Happy podcast and on Chris Harder's podcast. You know, you see me using those. Yes, of course, because that is social proof. But you don't have to have those. I've hired many people who didn't have those. I was hiring them on what I could clearly see was their expertise, their communication style, how they delivered it, and their overall just kind of vibe and energy, which we're going to get into. So when you first start out and you don't have all this stuff, which no one does, by the way, unless you're lying, which a lot of people do online. I need a sip of coffee. It has to happen. Has to, before we continue. Listen, I can give mad props to external stuff. Like let's use my life coach as an example, Cara Alwell, the Champagne Diet. She has lots of external proof. She's been doing this 10 years. She was just featured in Oprah, like Oprah's Daily. She has been an 8-time, I think, bestseller. I don't even remember. She has a lot of stuff. She has the blue verified check on her Instagram. She has 170,000 or something followers. That's not why I hired her. That is part of how I found her. And I'm not going to take away from that, right? Because as you grow and you grow your influence and your visibility, right? Your visibility is what allows more of your ideal client to find you. So I'm not taking away from the importance of that at all. But had she had even 5,000 followers and didn't have all those accolades, I would have still hired her and paid her the same amount of money. And here's why. And this is what I want you to take from it. You need to focus when you're starting on how you can display and showcase these internal credentials of yours and your expertise. Are there people who are going to be more of an expert than you? Of course. I've been an entrepreneur 14 years. I have millions in the bank. There are very few of us in this category of business coaches and consultants. You're going to see far more people selling you the shiny stuff and telling you, oh, build your business I only work an hour a day. And I do it all with intuition. And I can tell you their bank accounts don't look like mine. All right. There's a lot of that out there. And a lot of you have bought stuff like that, maybe because you've bought into, the stuff they're telling you. It sounds easy. Maybe you assumed because they're younger than me, not as experienced as me, maybe not as high profile as me, that they're cheaper or more affordable to you. Be very careful of that. Have you watched the show Botched? And then there's another new show on about all these women who've gotten these fat transfers and butt injections that have had to have, died and had to have tons of surgeries because they were looking for the less expensive way, the more affordable way. I really hope you wouldn't go and search for someone to shoot Botox in your face for the cheapest person. You are playing with fire, and it's the same way with business. So there's a lot of health and fitness coaches. Look at that saturated industry. Yeah, there are people who are on the cover of magazines who have won this, that, and the other competition. There are people who have, more years on this earth and therefore a lot more experience, right? You can't gain more experience than me. It'd be very hard to gain more experience than me if you're significantly younger than me, right? That's just not possible. Same with my former business coach. He's now 75 years old. I can't be where he's at. He has much more experience, and that's okay. And the reason why there's room for you is because you have a different level of your own expertise in a unique way that you present it, but it's really your internal credentials that people are buying into. The person who has all these accolades, that can feel too intimidating to people. A lot of times those people who have all those credentials, they almost get turn into a template of themselves, almost like a press release version of themselves. They've lost that real deal gritty version and relatable version of themselves because they've been successful for so long. They're disconnected from their ideal client. So a lot of people won't hire them. I could have hired any single health coach specifically in the area of healing adrenals and hormones. I could have hired anyone. And the person I hired was completely unknown and had 1,000 followers. I hired her expertise, which came from her doing the work on herself and with other clients. It's not like she didn't have other clients. So when you first start and you haven't had other clients, you are your best client. How I got from $17,000 a year to having millions in the bank, I am my best testimonial, my best client. You should be your best testimonial and your best client. I'm thinking of another private client of mine. She does career coaching for people who are wanting to get into corporate America and immigrate to the U.S. And she shows them how to get their resumes seen and get on the top of the stack and get interviews. And she does. So she had to start from scratch. She hired me starting from scratch. She had an Instagram, but it was janky and personal. And we used her as her own testimonial. She came here and was basically homeless from India. And in a short period of time, became a C-suite right hand to the CEO of a major company flying on his private plane. She was chief of staff. And she's since quit. Not because she didn't appreciate that career, but because we got her making significantly more in coaching and something where she could stay at home with her 4-year-old and travel with her husband. So she ended up, with love, quitting. So she was her own best testimonial and shared that story. That's your testimonial. So if you used to weigh more and now you weigh less, or you used to feel like crap all the time and now you feel better, if you have ADHD and you could never complete anything and it was causing you lots of problems in your financial life and in your personal life, and you have found a way to better manage that. That doesn't mean it's gone. You can't cure a lot of these things that we help people with, but better manage that. You are your story. You also have people in your life who you have helped guaranteed for free. You have counseled for free. You have given advice to for free. Who are you the go-to for with your family and friends? You can use those people as an example. Just use their first name, or you can even change their first name to protect their anonymity and use those as case studies and share those. But you have got to showcase your expertise using your own story and people you've helped guide. That's how you start. But you have to own it. You have to believe, you know what? I am my own best credential. This is why people would be absolutely crazy to not work with me. This is an exercise I give to my private clients I work with who are like, God, Tiff, but there's so many other people they could hire. And what if I can't get them results? Because I've never done this before. And why would someone want to work with me when I haven't coached or worked with all these people when they could hire someone who has all these results? The exercise is you need to write down. This is not, sometimes I'll tell you guys when you can do stuff in your head, because I am terribly lazy about writing shit down. But doing stuff in your head doesn't always translate like we need it to. I need you to write down or type in your notes 10 reasons why your ideal client would be absolutely fucking crazy to not hire you. You have to believe that. That's attractive. That's magnetic. That is a grounded confidence, not a cockiness. That's a grounded confidence. I know without a doubt that any one of you listening is absolutely crazy to spend even $1 working with somebody else on your business right now, aside from me, if you are wanting to get consistent cash and clients online without losing your mind, without working 12 hours a day. Do it efficiently, because we're not available for doing things that are unnecessarily hard. Actually creating a customized system, a profitable content plan, and packaging your offers so that your ideal clients are eager and excited to hand you their money. If those are the things that you want and those are the holes in your business, I am the person to fill those. I'm not saying you don't have other coaches for other things. I have other coaches for other things. That's fine. But for this specific thing, you're crazy. You know why? Because I have proof on repeat. I have coached over 150,000 people worldwide. I have made over $160 million for my clients with the systems that I have refined and massaged over the last 15 years. I myself have made a crap ton of money. More importantly, what's in the bank? Because people can go, I have a 6-figure launch, I have a 7-figure launch. Well, how much of that are you keeping? I'm all about, we want to make sure what we're netting. We want to make sure after taxes, after credit card fees, after paying your people, after ads, that you have a substantial amount that's in your bank. Because if it's not in your bank, it ain't going to change your lifestyle. You're giving taxes to the government, you're paying people, you're giving away ad money. A lot of these people you see are spending upwards of even $250,000 a month in ads. They're playing big. They're playing a big gamble there. And there's a whole play online where people do a lot of these in-person events. Did you know most in-person events lose money? How they make money is the stuff they sell you into at the event. So if you're watching these people doing retreats and events, you're like, oh my God, I want to do that. That looks like so much fun. There's a whole business behind it. And if you don't have the system set up behind it, you will spend a ton of time and energy and your own money and have zero to show for it. And let me tell you, I've made that mistake in my first business and it was terrible. I had to use a credit card and pay a big upcharge to use a credit card to pay my $5,500 tax bill in my first 2 years of business. And I was like, how is it possible I owe the government money when I have nothing to show for my work for 2 years. I didn't know how to be an entrepreneur. I came from corporate life. I didn't hire anyone to show me. Didn't cross my mind. And I was being a cheap ass. I thought you had to make a lot of money before you hired someone. I didn't get it. This is why I tell you guys all these things. But you have to really believe in conviction. So I want on this list of 10 things to not just be external credentials. External credentials are like vanity metrics. That's not really why people buy. That might be why they initially find you or have an initial interest or lean in. But why someone buys is emotion. Why someone buys is they trust you. Why someone buys is they feel connected with you, is a belief that they know you can help them, that you understand them, that you get them, that they understand your teaching style, your communication style. Because everyone's different, right? There's certain professors in college or in high school that you thought were great that everyone else hated, and vice versa. You're like, God, I don't even know why people are into this person. Right? Because everyone vibes something different. So on that list, right, is it that you're highly intuitive and you, even if someone is telling you I'm okay, like I'm doing good. Yeah, it's fine. But you can feel even through a screen or even through a phone call, you know that's not true and they're not fine. Well, that's a beautiful gift. That's a beautiful gift. Is it that you have a great ability of explaining things in a simple manner that are normally complex to people, right? That's one of mine. I'm able to simplify things that can be really overwhelming to entrepreneurs, both new and established, right? Because there's a lot of you listening that are, I call you accidental entrepreneurs. You've gotten to even like 200,000-300,000 a year and you're kind of stuck at that point and you don't know how to get past it. It's because you don't have any systems or processes in place. And in order to scale to the high 6 figures and 7 figures, you got to set things up like a real business. And that doesn't mean, what is Chubbs's problem? I don't know what he was barking about. Anyway. You've got to treat your business like a business if you want big business level, big cash, right? You keep treating it like it's some optional side hobby and toe dipping around, but then you want to have big business results. It's not going to happen. This is why my 2-month private business coaching program, I have 2 levels that I put people in. It's the same application. But if you are a new entrepreneur starting from scratch at $0 to $10,000 a month consistently, I put you in the new entrepreneur category. That is one strategy to get you to that next big benchmark goal, financial goal. If you're established and you're already past the 10K months consistently and you want to get to the high 6 figures, that is a different level of strategy. That's a little more granular. There's more things that have to happen. The great news is for those of you who are just starting, we don't have to redo all the shit you've done. If you've not even created an offer or really done much to package anything, that's great, because every single person who comes to me, whether it's an entrepreneur making $1 million a year, making $500 a year, making $100 a year, making $5K a month, and they've been doing stuff, they have burned a ton of time, money, and energy creating stuff, hoping it will stick, using hope as a strategy. And we have to rework everything because they're missing the foundations. Even people who are at $1 million a year, because a lot of them have no life. They're constantly launching. They're working frantically. They're exhausted. And that's not what you want. Yeah, you're going to be tired sometimes. You have to do shit you don't want to do sometimes. Actually, a lot of times, like 70% of the time. But this shouldn't become a self-imposed prison. You might as well go back or keep your jobby, your day job. if you want to feel controlled and trapped and confined by something. So I want you to make that list. And the last thing is, you need to hear this. You need to hear this truth about me. And it's not flattering. I've resisted sharing this for a long time because I had a lot of shame around it. I don't anymore. I can laugh about it now, but it's still crazy. The amount of time you waste doing this is pure insanity. I mean, seriously, if overthinking and overanalyzing burned calories, I'd be a famous bikini cover model. Like, who feels me on this? I spent 10 years daydreaming, analyzing, wishing, hoping, and obsessing over starting Project Me with Tiffany Carter, the brand and the podcast. And let's just say I spent an average of 15 minutes a day thinking about what I wanted to do and have, what I wish I had, what would be amazing, what I hated about my life currently. So 15 minutes a day, that would equal 54,750 minutes, or even more crazy, 2,281 days wasted. And I know for a fact there were some days where I did not just spend 15 minutes. And I know right now a lot of you are spending way more than 15 minutes thinking about doing the thing. So imagine if a quarter of that time was dedicated to even slowly starting and growing your dream business. You would save so much time and energy of feeling unfulfilled, uninspired, and shaming yourself for not taking action. If left unmanaged, our minds are so manipulative and cunning, even destructive. Your mind can be fooled into thinking you are taking action simply because you're thinking about it or quote unquote figuring it out, which by the way is another way of saying obsessing. It's like you think you're getting healthy because you bought a Peloton and pinned some healthy recipes. Meanwhile, you haven't taken any of the necessary actions to get the results you desire. I see this all the time with new and established entrepreneurs. Oh, I'm brainstorming. I'm waiting to get my inspiration back. I'm doing a digital detox because, I've really lost my motivation lately. And my latest fave is I've set aside time next week to really get started on this. Your brain believes it's taking action, yet not a damn thing has happened. It's really this simple. You're either taking the actual actions needed to get the desired results, or you're tricking yourself into thinking you're taking action, but all you're doing is stalling so you can stay safe. Well, I'm not sure what to do. I'm stuck. I'm confused. I'm torn. I don't know my niche. I need to figure my brand colors out before I do this. I'm not really sure who I want to help or what I want to do. You can stay in that spot, you guys. I stayed there for 10 years. You can stay in that spot for years. Some of you been in that spot for years or even months. That's not moving the needle. You're actually staying. It's like that'd be you sitting in a car and constantly revving the engine. What do you think is going to eventually happen? You're still burning gas, but you aren't going anywhere. And right now, gas apparently is $6 a gallon here, which is wild. So you're just burning gas, but you're not going anywhere. And then you're also wearing down the key central part of your vehicle, your engine. And you're just wearing it down, but with not a damn thing to show for it, with no miles to show for it, no destinations, road trips, experiences, nothing to show for it. That is what you're doing. I'm calling you out today because I wish I had someone calling me out during all of those 10 years I wasted and I can't get back. All those 2,281 days. And if you don't know where to start, what to do next, which thing to launch, which direction to go, what colors, what to post, what not to post, how to do this, who to hire, what to hire next, what to invest my money in. If you don't know, you know what your next action is? Hiring someone who you feel you trust can help get you the clarity and the direction and the plan and the system. That's your next move. If you don't know, the answer is, right, the next question, is to ask yourself, well, then who can I hire to help get me the clarity and the plan I need so I can actually reach my destination? So I can at least start moving the damn vehicle and not be in the garage. You may have seen my March applications are open for my exclusive 2-month private business coaching program. This is exactly what we do in here. We customize a profitable content plan. We customize your offers so that your ideal clients are excited to buy those offers. We create a customer acquisition system that feels good to you, because there's not just one way. There's things in digital marketing that absolutely work. And yes, there's things that absolutely don't, but there's a whole gray area in between. And that's what I customize with you. Because if you don't like the system or the strategy of packaging offers, launching, sharing them with the people, all that stuff, if you don't like it, if it doesn't feel good to you, guess what? You might do it for a week and you won't do it again. And then it won't work. And then it will be a waste of money. Which is why a lot of you have tried stuff you've watched other people do and you don't stick with it. It's no different than exercise. You see your friend who lost all this weight and running, and then you're like, well, I'll run. I hate running, but I'll run because I want that result. Yeah, you'll run like twice, maybe. You're not gonna keep it up, and therefore it won't work. Because you've got to have the compound effect in business. The compound effect is you continue to show up regardless. You continue to show up regardless. You continue to show up regardless. And with full high integrity and intent and excitement and a belief in knowing that it will work and you're going to show up, you're committed to showing up until, not only if. That's when it works. And everyone's timing is different. I have clients that within the 2 months, like within 6 weeks, they've already made their investment back from working with me. I have people where it's taken them a year. And now they're at $50,000 a month. There's episodes on my podcast. There's tons of client stories and testimonials in my highlights on Instagram. There are people where it's 3 months and they went from making $1,500 a month and now they're at $10,000 a month. Everyone's journey is different. Everyone has their own ways of self-sabotaging. Everyone has their own process of how they take in the information. Some people, we have to do a lot more money mindset work and a lot more self-belief work before it catches. It's no different than what you see on all these ads for health supplements and programs, right? They have the disclaimer and fine print at the bottom saying this is less than 1% of cases. I could sit here and just showcase my 1 and 2 percenters. And that's what a lot of marketers do in a bunch of different fields. In fact, in all fields. Right? Like what I loved about my breast explant surgeon, Dr. Elliot Hirsch, is he didn't just show his glorious before and afters, where it was someone who was already very genetically blessed before. You know, like he does a lot of like reality stars and stuff. And it's like genetically blessed before. So before, yeah, you know, they looked amazing and and their boobs just needed to be done. And then of course their boobs look amazing after, right? No, he showed all gamuts. And that built great trust with me because I knew, okay, so conservatively, if I left and I looked like that, I would still be very happy. Right? So that's why I share with you guys all levels of it. If I just sat and shared the shiny stuff, though, that's really setting a crazy expectation. I want you to take that in for your own people. That's setting a crazy expectation and doing a disservice for your people. Because you know why? Because then you would be so upset if within weeks you weren't flooded with clients. What am I doing wrong? Maybe I'm not cut out to do this. God, here I hired Tiffany, who I know her system works and she's taught me all the things and it's still not working. So it must be me they're not buying from. It is a terrible setup. Terrible. Without a doubt, it will work as long as you're willing to show up until and you actually treat your business like a business strategically and not just like some side hobby or when you feel like it or when you're inspired or when you're motivated. You have to invest money back into your business. You have to invest money before you have it. You have to do lots of uncomfortable, highly vulnerable things. Every single thing I teach you guys, I practice and I share about it because what I teach works. So it'd be kind of concerning if I didn't follow my own advice. All right. The link to the application, you can swipe up. It's inside show notes. It's also my link in bio on Instagram or on my website, ProjectMeWithTiffany.com under Work With Me. Wishing you guys great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.